Hello and welcome to the Respectfully Hair podcast. I'm Nikki Pope, your host for this hairdressing conversation. My guest today is Chloe Heyworth. She runs their micro-artistry hair clinic in southwest England, or Somerset to be precise. I'm really interested to find out more about what micro-artistry is and how it can be applied to hairdressers and hairdressing salons up and down the country. Chloe, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I am, because it's not often, I've been in hairdressing quite a long time, 30 years, and it's not often that I come across a whole world that I thought, oh gosh, I kind of didn't really either know much about it or didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
So I was really fascinated to get your email offering to tell me more about it. So let's start with that. We're at a party, we're having a drink, I've never met you before. I say, what do you do for a living? What would you say back?
This is a question I always get asked, and I always think, how is the easiest way to explain this? But essentially, scalp micro-pigmentation, which is a treatment that I specialise in, is a form of cosmetic tattooing on the scalp. So the way it works is it replicates hair follicles. So when people ask me, what do you do? I say, I essentially tattoo hair. And then that always gets them talking.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. So, whole wealth of questions there. Is that what kind of background are you a tattoo artist? Are you a hairdresser? Where's your sort of story? How did you get into this? What's the sort of training?
So the training that I did, so I did a level 4 qualification with a company called Finishing Touches Group.
Yeah.
They're one of the longest standing micropigmentation schools in the UK.
Yeah.
Run by a lady called Dawn Forshaw. Loads of experience. They actually work quite closely alongside NHS nurses as well.
Right.
Doing things like areola reconstructions.
Yeah.
So the term micropigmentation is an umbrella term to describe all things such as cosmetic tattooing. People might most typically know it as semi-permanent makeup.
Right. Yeah.
So you may well have heard of microblading.
Yeah. So for eyebrows.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nanobrows, creating a hair stroke on the eyebrow. There's also permanent eyeliner and lip blush. So those are the ones probably most well known.
That we're aware of. So a level 4 qualification, do you mean it like an MVQ?
Yes. So it's level 4 is the highest training that you can do with the scalp micropigmentation. And then you can go on to do masterclasses and additional training.
Yeah.
But yes, that's kind of the highest level that you can train to.
And do you sort of sit then, do you think you sit in hairdressing or in beauty, or is it sort of
it's such a
the
fine,
wellness in between?
It is such a fine line. I guess typically, obviously we're not medically trained, even though I have the trichology aspect as well. It's still not a medically trained service. So I guess it kind of sits in that beauty category, but we do work closely with the medical field and with hairdressers. Yeah. So we're kind of in this grey area.
So some of your clients then, from the references you've made, so it might be somebody, so tattooing might be for somebody who's undergone treatment for cancer, or it might be somebody who's suffering from hair loss caused by some kind of treatment they've had, or it might be somebody with thinning hair or sort of inherited.
It's interesting because I always get asked, so when I tell people what I do, they say, are you treating people who have had cancer? Like, is that the most typical one that you treat? Yeah. And actually, I very rarely see anyone who's, gone through that experience. I remember having one lady who underwent chemotherapy and the regrowth of her hair wasn't as strong as it was previously. Yeah. So I did help her adding density in that situation. Yeah. But typically, it is the typical pattern hair loss that you see. So androgenetic alopecia.
So the client profile might be, so somebody might come to you for micropigmentation where you're replicating the look of hair follicles on the scalp. Yeah. So it might be somebody who does have some hair, but they want to look like they've got more hair because the scalp show through is what gives away filling
Yes.
hair?
So there's the one that it's most typically known for and probably still used for is creating the shaved look.
Yes.
So it's most typically known for being a treatment for men with pattern hair loss, and then men who choose to shave their head and they just want to restore the hairline or add density. So it's replicating stubble, essentially.
Wow.
But the one that is also very effective for is adding density. So it does work really well in clients with long hair.
Yeah.
And it's neutralising the contrast of the white scalp against the hair. So it's camouflaging exposed areas of scalp using a pointillism technique.
So is it like so would you have different shades of ink that you might use to mirror somebody's natural hair colour or skin tone? Or how does it, what would a consultation be like when you're meeting somebody?
Yes, so this is another kind of a bit of a misconception. I think people assume that it would work best on dark hair tones.
Yeah.
But actually, I personally love working on blondes, grey hair tones, white hair tones, because the pigment that is most widely used is a carbon black pigment.
Yeah.
And then that's diluted depending on the client's hair tone.
Right.
So whenever I say black, people's faces look at me and they think, oh my gosh, I don't want to have a black black scalp. But what it does is you dilute it and then it heals to varying shades of grey, depending on how much you've diluted it with water. So the carbon black, that has the longest, evidence-based of healed results, essentially. So that's why it's used most commonly in scalp micropigmentation.
Yeah.
There has been an introduction within the last couple of years of brown pigments. You do see a lot of brown pigments, of course, with eyebrow tattooing.
Yeah.
And it has been introduced into the scalp world. But I'm a little bit hesitant to use them just because I'm cautious of what the long-term healed results will be of those pigments.
Yeah.
But when you look at most hair tones, when the hair is shaved down, it does have a grey undertone. Yeah. Unless someone is naturally, has very warm hair or like an auburn hair, even shaved down, it does tend to have that grey undertone. Yeah. So I do find it blends with nearly all hair tones.
And I guess that's part of where the artistry comes in, is that you using your judgment and your experience to work on what that client might need.
Absolutely. And getting the right dilution is essential.
Yeah. And is it a one-time process? Is it likely does it fade? Do you need to have, I don't know, any kind of maintenance plan, if you like?
Yeah. It does fade very gradually over the years. So it's not the same as a traditional tattoo. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a tattoo, but the way that it's applied in the skin and the pigments that are used, it means that the body can break it down slowly.
Right.
But it takes many, many years, and it's a process of fading in colour. So it lightens over the years. Typically 2 to 5 years is when someone might want to have a single session, and we call it like a redarkening session or a fresh up.
Yeah.
But essentially, once it's in the skin, it will be there for a very long time.
Wow, so it's a good investment.
It is.
So how did you find this area of working with people? Because it's not something that I'd particularly I have heard of it. I suppose it was sort of there in my psyche, if you like. But what's your journey towards opening up the clinic?
Well, so I started just offering scalp micropigmentation. So I've always been very artistic. I would draw my family from the age of 5. I'd make them sit and draw portraits of them. So I've always had that natural artistic ability, but not knowing what to do with it or how to use it in a positive way.
Yeah.
It was actually my mum who first told me about micropigmentation. She was looking at having a medical cosmetic tattoo done herself. Mm-hmm. So she had discovered it. I was about 19 at the time. And she said, oh my gosh, you'd be so good at this with your art.
Yeah.
And it was something that I looked into at the time, but I was quite young. The training was quite expensive. It was quite an investment. And I just didn't quite feel ready. Mm-hmm. But it kind of stuck in the back of my mind. Yeah. I always went back to it. And then very sadly, I did lose my mum when I was 26. And it was about 6 months after she had passed that it just kind of popped in my head again. And I remember thinking about it. I felt at a real loss at the time. It was through COVID. And I was just thinking I wasn't sure what to do next. And it was something that I looked into again. And doing more research, I discovered the SMP, scalp micro-pigmentation. And my mum was a hairdresser as well.
Oh, wow.
So I came from that background of being interested in hair. I even considered doing hairdressing myself at one point. And when I discovered it and saw the results, I just thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I'd never seen it before, never heard of it. And so to me, it was like it was made for me.
Yes, and how lovely that you can sort of tie up the story, the suggestion your mum had made all those years before, and obviously she would have known you, better than anybody.
Yeah.
So it must be quite, I think that's very touching. It's like a gift from your mum, isn't it? That she gave you a bit of direction.
Yeah, I find it extremely fulfilling for that reason. And everything that I do with the business, I do with her in mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so lovely to do something that we actually spoke about and she was excited for me to do.
Yeah.
And I think the fact I've gone down the hair route, she would just be thrilled about that.
Yeah, absolutely, to keep it in. So having got the sort of motivation, was it difficult to find somewhere to train, or were you inspired? Did you come across other businesses that you were able to sort of research and say, right, I'll see what they did, or was it something you had to navigate without much guidance?
Yeah, I was throwing myself into the unknown a little bit because it was an industry that I'd never even heard of before. I am one of these people, I will research stuff, to within the nth degree. I just do so much research. I can do hours and hours. So I did look at other local businesses. I took inspiration from people who I wanted to have the same kind of offering and image. And I just built it based on that. But you do learn as you go. And I have, changed things so much as I've gone along.
So you have you always set up on your own? So having qualified, or were you practicing while you were getting the final qualifications and you set up your own business? How did you do that? Is it a salon? Is it how do you?
Yeah. So I set up by myself. So I'd done my training. I carried out, you have to complete a certain number of case studies. So I completed them in a location where you could rent the room by the hour, cost an absolute fortune, making no money at all in the beginning. Then I found a space within a barbershop.
Yeah.
So again, just sort of going in alone with it. Didn't have any clients set up ready. I was just kind of hoping to
trying to build business as you went.
But I thought, this is going to be a prime location. I'd have loads of men with hair loss coming to me.
Absolutely.
I had an article put out in the local newspaper when I opened, and I had loads of females inquiring with hair loss. And I was so surprised. I was so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
But it was a real shock. So after about a year of being there, I went somewhere that was more of like a neutral location, and I just had to build my client base naturally.
Yeah. Do you get referrals? Do you work in conjunction with other agencies who perhaps will send people to you?
I've done a bit of work alongside hairdressers, and I'm a member of something called the BARS, which is a British Association of Hair Restoration Surgery. Bit of a mouthful, but that's given me lots of opportunities, and people find me through their website. So you do have to try and work alongside people, but I think because lots of people haven't heard of it, they're a little bit hesitant at first.
Yeah. So, gosh, all these questions
I know
at the same time. Right. So, would you say you still have a majority of female clients over men, or has it sort of balanced out?
It's very 50-50.
Right.
Yeah, I think lots of people who offer this treatment typically have male clients, but I'm lucky I do have a mixture of both.
Yeah. And
it is typically 50-50. And it's such a variety of reasons why people come to see me.
Yeah. And can it be suitable for everybody?
No, it's not suitable for everyone. With men, I would say there's a few more options. If they're willing to shave their head, I think it's a brilliant solution.
Yeah.
If someone's wanting to keep their hair long and have the treatment, there are a few things that they have to consider. The amount of hair loss can't be to the extent where there's large bald areas, because the treatment is essentially a 2D effect. It's just creating an illusion on the scalp.
Right.
So you do have to have, if you want to keep your hair long, you do have to have enough hair to camouflage in with the tattoo, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to get the effect.
Yeah, otherwise you can see the sort of flatter areas of scalp against the long hair. Tell
me about, I'm interested that you offer a range of services, because it's not just the micropigmentation, is it? I think you're a trichologist, and you also talk to people about what's causing the hair loss and other things that they can try before or instead of the micropigmentation.
Definitely. So because I was seeing so many different cases of hair loss with the scalp micropigmentation, I felt like I wanted to extend my knowledge of the hair and scalp, and to make sure that I was offering the correct treatment for the person. Because I think if there's ever an opportunity for that person to regrow their hair naturally, that should always be explored first. Right. So I do say, if they have long hair and they want to keep their hair long, typically my female clients, I always advise to do the SMP as a last resort. Right. You want to, try and regrow your hair naturally.
So look at the reasons why perhaps they're suffering hair loss or thinning hair in the first place.
So with my trichology, which I went on to train in after, I'm able to look at their lifestyle, their medical history, their hair care, family history, and we can kind of build a whole picture of what's going on in their life. Right. And try and identify why they're losing their hair. And you want to try and tackle the underlying cause of the hair loss, because otherwise it's going to continue. I think with men, some men, they just start losing their hair a little bit and they think, oh, I'll just shave it. And that's when they can still have the hair tattoo, even if their hair loss isn't too advanced. But I always think with female clients, it's nice to try and get that natural hair growth if we can. But if hair follicles have been lost permanently, then SMP is an amazing solution.
So can somebody work to recover from hair loss and still have had the micropigmentation? So it's not going to stop hair growing. It's not going to damage anything. So if it's going to grow back, it's going to grow back anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. That's one of the really nice things with it, is it doesn't damage hair follicles. It's quite superficial in the skin, so it is reaching the dermal layer of the skin with the tattoo, but you're not getting anywhere near the hair follicles. And even in the short term, because of the needling effect on the skin and increasing blood flow, it can actually stimulate hair growth a little bit, even just during the treatment process. And if that happens, then you can start exploring other options like microneedling of the scalp and different regenerative treatments.
So the tattooing might not be a first step, it might be a middle step or a last step even.
Yes, definitely. I think particularly with women, it's always more of like a last resort, but a very good one as well. It's a very good option for people.
Wow. So how have you seen, I appreciate it's probably only been 5 or 6 years since you started this journey. I mean, hair loss and thinning hair is becoming more and more, should we say it, more and more of a preoccupation. It's more of a thing. People are suffering more and more because of the stresses, dietary changes, trauma, the effects of COVID even perhaps. Are you seeing that in the numbers of people or the stories that people are sharing with you? Is it something that you're saying, wow, this really is, an increasing problem?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you were saying with COVID, one of the side effects of long COVID, quite a lot of people experienced hair loss with that, which can happen with chronic long-term illness. The weight loss drug, Manjaro, I'm seeing lots of that
around the hairline. I think that's more of a problem, is it?
Yeah,
it tends to be.
It's it can be hair loss all over. So the term for it usually is something called telogen effluvium.
Yeah.
And it's where a large number of the hair follicles enter the telogen, so resting shedding phase, all at the same time.
Yeah.
So it can feel very traumatic for people because they suddenly just start seeing loads and loads of hair shedding and they panic. And then that's when they tend to come in to see me for advice because they think they're going to lose all their
everything
hair.
And it won't come back.
Yeah. But it tends to be a response from either like an emotional or a physical stress on the body or an underlying disorder, maybe of the endocrine system or something along those lines. But that's the one I see a lot of, and that's the one typically that happens after something like long COVID or taking Manjaro.
Yeah. So the market is there. People are asking for it. What might a sort of consultation be like then? Is it quite emotional? Do you have people tend to be quite emotional about this? It's quite something that, you might not feel very easy to talk about with your hairdresser or your family. So are you finding it takes a while to get people to sort of open up, perhaps not be too stressed about it?
I have a box of tissues next to me. I get some tears but I do find a lot of the time they feel so relieved for coming to speak to someone.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're taking back control by taking action and actually speaking to a specialist about the issue. But yes, I think it's a bit of a taboo subject. It is something that's difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
But I would really just encourage anyone who's suffering with any kind of hair loss. It is best to try and speak to someone because I think there's lots of different options out there and it can be a bit of a minefield of what should I do?
Yeah, it can be a time period or a stage. It can be, I know a lot of people, the obvious one is pregnancy. A lot of people really panic when they feel that they're losing a lot of hair, either during or after pregnancy more, isn't it? And lots of other reasons why it happens. So how can hairdressers listening to us in this conversation, how might they access more information, or is it something that you could offer within a salon situation? You could have somebody in the team, or you could learn it as an added skill.
Yeah, definitely. I think with both the hair tattooing and the trichology, they complement other hair services so well.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense for hair salons to either have these services within their salon or to collaborate with people in their area with these services so that they have a reputable recommendation for their clients. But yes, I think it's with hair loss, there's so many reasons why it happens and there's so many things that can be done to help it.
Yeah.
And it does tend to involve a combination of treatments to get the best results.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a one solution thing. There's lots of things that have to go into.
And in your experience then of speaking with clients and seeing lots of different stories, what are the sort of common misconceptions or the problems that you sort of think, gosh, I wish people just would understand this about something, is it diet, or is it about the kind of products people are putting on their hair, or is it, I don't know, perhaps having not very professional hair extensions put in or something like that? Is there anything that you come across quite regularly that you think, God, I really wish I could just tell everyone this?
Yeah, I think people quite often think it's the products they're using.
Yeah.
And although it does go some way towards the quality of the hair and, the condition of how the hair grows, but hair loss is nearly always coming from within. There's an issue going on within, and that's where you need to look, and that's where the cause needs to be diagnosed. So
it's more about what's going inside, whether it's medication or diet or some kind of hormone or something.
Yeah, and external, there's external things you can do to help the scalp and the hair follicles thrive, but essentially it's coming from within that's causing your hair loss to happen.
Yeah.
So it's identifying why is it happening?
Yeah. And what sort of, I think we're enough into the conversation now that perhaps I can ask you how it works as a business for you. So you work on your own, or do you have a team?
So I work on my own, but I do offer a treatment called platelet-rich plasma as well within the clinic.
Okay.
I can go through all the different
it's interesting. It's
that I offer.
Yeah.
But with that treatment, it involves taking blood from the client. So I have a nurse who comes in and offers that treatment.
Yeah.
So I work alongside her.
So they take the blood and don't they spin it or something? I've seen, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Turned into something that you then reapply?
Yes. So I love PRP. It's a great treatment. So the way it's done, it's a small sample of blood is taken, the same as you'd have if you're having a blood test.
Yeah.
It's then spun at high speed in something called a centrifuge.
Mm-hmm.
And the plasma is separated from the rest of the blood components.
Right.
Then within the plasma, which is this golden liquid colour, they call it liquid gold, are platelets. And it tends to be 5 times the amount of platelets that you'd find typically just in your blood.
Yeah.
So it has a very high nutritional benefits. It essentially has lots of growth factors and anti-inflammatory properties that help stimulate dormant hair follicles or miniaturizing hair follicles.
So you'd reapply it on the surface, on the skin?
So this one is a little more invasive, so it's injected into the scalp.
Yeah.
There's also another treatment that uses bioactive serums, which is quite exciting. I think this is going to be something that we'll see more of going forward within the hair loss industry, and something that I'm introducing to the clinic soon.
Yeah.
But it uses serums that are derived from stem cells. Again, it's full of proteins, growth factors, anti-inflammatory properties, and that's applied to the scalp using a microneedling method.
Wow.
So making little micro punches in the skin just to improve the absorption of the serums. But that one's a little bit less invasive. It's better for people who maybe have early stage to moderate hair loss, whereas the platelet-rich plasma is slightly more invasive and probably better for people who have moderate to more advanced hair loss.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what stage you're at. Age can come into it as well, and health, because you want to have healthy platelets for the PRP to work effectively. If you don't, perhaps the bioactive serums might be more effective. Yeah.
So the business model is really about not being focused on one aspect of delivering a service. You've kind of made your business about being able to offer different services, but most importantly, being able to have that consultation to understand what the best solution would be for that client. But it is possible for you, with the exception of the plasma one, you can deliver all of those yourself. So it's possible to run it as a one person or as a very small
absolutely
team to do that. So how is it a good business model? Does it make money without being too let's get to the nuts and bolts of it. So, to make a living, it seems to me that it's an area of really, I don't want to say the pun, but growth industry, and it's an area that clients, that consumers much more interested in, and it's becoming a bigger problem. So looking into it and gathering these skills and being able to offer these services, are they things that will make you a good return on investment yourself as a business person, the fees that you can charge versus the cost of setting up?
Absolutely. So training in these things, it can vary the prices, but they are high ticket, treatments. So, and they are quite specialist. You do have to have the correct training to offer them. So it is a really good business. If you're in the hair business and you want to extend your offerings, I would definitely advise adding on these treatments, because it's giving your client a more rounded offering as well. And you can make, good money from it, like I say, because they are quite specialist, and you can charge a bit more for that reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it must be quite joyful, although you've got clients who perhaps have quite problems. People are coming to you with a problem. So perhaps in a salon, you're doing makeovers and is that lovely transformative effect of a haircut or a colour, and they walk in one way and walk out another. But it must be quite joyful, really, because you're giving quite a lot of hope, or you're restoring a deep sense of self-esteem and confidence.
It's so lovely. It's, although it is essentially cosmetic work that you're doing, you do sit more between that line of cosmetic and medical, because it does have such an impact on people's lives and their identity. I think our hair is such a huge part of our identity.
Yeah.
And it can be so traumatic if you start losing your hair. So when you can help someone improve the appearance or even start reversing signs of hair loss, they're just so thankful, and it's really like such a fulfilling job. And it's really lovely to be able to help people with such a with a thing that affects their life so much on a daily basis.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. But is it funny, because your client, in a salon situation, you'd have clients, regular clients, and people who stay with you a long time. Is it odd having people that you never see again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Although that's the point of it, I guess.
I know. It's you kind of hope that maybe they don't have to see you again sometimes. But I do stay in touch with a lot of my clients, and we get to the end of our treatment process, whether that's 4 sessions or 6 sessions or more, and with whatever it might be, and they sort of think, oh, when am I going to see you again,
Yeah.
And
because you've been through something quite intimate in a way, haven't you?
Definitely. It's very personal. It can be such a personal experience for people. They're really having to put so much trust in me and really open up and just kind of believe that what I'm offering is going to help them. So when they see those results, and they're really happy, and I think it can be
really helpful. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So let's think practical steps. So you have a website, microartistry.co.uk.
Yeah.
And obviously anybody listening to this, will put links and information in the show notes, so whatever platform you're listening on. So they could have a look and see what you offer, but it would be looking into training in micro-pigmentation.
Yeah.
Is that that's what you'd Google?
Yeah, scalp micro-pigmentation, or SMP.
SMP.
It's shortened to.
Trichology is something that we've talked about on our podcast before, and we're aware of, but you chose to do a trichology study. You are a serial studier, aren't you?
I know. I never thought I would be, but I think I just find it so interesting. And I think it's so nice just to have a lot of knowledge around this, so you can just give your clients the most ethical outcome possible. Yeah, really.
And then the other skills that you've got, the other things that people will see on your website, the services you offer, you've just studied them and acquired them as qualifications as you've gone along.
Yeah.
So it's not always, they don't always come with the scalp micropigmentation. So the blood plasma and those micro needling, you might have to go to different places to train.
Yes, it's all separate. So with the scalp micropigmentation, the place where I did my training, Finishing Touches group, they do offer the microneedling with the serums.
Okay, right.
So you can do all that together.
Yeah.
But with the plasma, that's something a little bit different. I do know that in the UK, you can offer it as a non-medic.
Yeah.
But I think more regulations are coming in. So I always leave that to my lovely nurse who comes in.
Yeah. I think it's good to form alliances and collaborations, because, running a business on your own can be quite a sort of an isolating experience, but particularly when you're dealing with people's health, mental health and well-being, as well as physical. It's probably interesting to have some kind of partnership or collaborations going on, and be careful as you go. But well done. Wow. So is it possible to sort of sum up, as we come to the end of the conversation, what the sort of real big win for you has been? What you've really found in this career that you've built. What's been the real revelation, or the real, I don't know, diamond for you?
I think definitely how much of a difference it can make to people's lives. And also it's just been fascinating to learn that there are so many options out there for people who have hair loss. I think one of the big misconceptions is that if you have hair loss, that there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And equally, if you have hair loss, there's this one magic wand solution that's going to solve everything.
Yeah.
It is like a combination thing that you have to do to try and resolve it. But I think it's just amazing how many different services there are out there and the things that can be done. And specifically with the SMP. Yeah. So many people have never heard of it before. Yeah. But it's
or not heard of it for women. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
We do think of the sort of Phil and Grant Mitchell look from EastEnders.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, that's brilliant. So hopefully we are piquing somebody's interest by listening to this podcast. So for hairdressers or people working with clients, what might the next steps be, or what kind of areas would they be good to look into? What sort of steps, what sort of solutions are there for people? There's obviously a range that we're perhaps not all very aware of. So where might one's head go with that?
Yeah, there's lots of different options for people. I'll briefly kind of run through them. So of course you have the SMP. Yeah. Great for people who have permanent hair loss, replicating the hair follicle. You then have the microneedling, which we touched on with the bioactive serums, microneedled into the scalp, as well as the platelet-rich plasma. So those two things help to stimulate growth again.
Right. So if there's a prospect of recovery.
Exactly. Yeah. If the hair is in that miniaturization phase, which is typical with pattern hair loss, it can help thicken up and extend the growth cycle of those hair follicles.
And can I just stop you on that one quickly? So would that apply to maybe sort of younger men who can see where the hair loss is going and want to slow it down or stop it? Would that be something?
Yes, definitely. So with pattern hair loss, it is a progressive disorder. It's not something that you can cure or stop completely, but you can drastically slow it down. Right. So I would say to anyone who's experiencing hair loss, try and catch it as early as you possibly can, because there's more that you can do.
Right. So even late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah. You do see that, unfortunately. You do see people experiencing hair loss at those ages. But the sooner you can catch it, you will improve it. Not saying it's going to be a perfect fix for your entire life, but you can slow it by quite a number of years. Yeah. So yes, those would be the ones to do in clinic. Yeah. You can also use something called low-level laser therapy or laser phototherapy. Yeah. And that uses a laser. You can do this either in clinic or at home. I would advise doing at home because it's something that you want to do on a regular basis, long term. Yeah. So what that does is it increases the energy output of the follicle cells. Yeah. I always think of it like the hair follicle's the flower and the laser light is like the sunlight, giving it energy. Yeah. And it helps to increase blood flow to the scalp. So all these treatments that I speak about, the underlying benefit of what it's doing to the hair follicle is it's increasing blood flow. Yeah. And that's sort of the main thing that we want to be doing.
So you can get home use devices, laser devices that you can use on a regular basis, like people do with the sort of LED face masks and things.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's using red light and near infrared light. Yeah. The wavelength you want to look for is between 630 to 680 nanometers. Right. So the best brands in the UK that I can recommend, I personally use Theradome in the clinic, and that's what I recommend to my clients. There's also Hair Max, which is very good, and Current Body. Right. So they all have the correct wavelengths to help stimulate growth. You just don't want to be caught out by these cheaper alternatives. They are expensive, they are a bit of an investment, but you want to make sure you've got the correct laser, otherwise it's just not going to do anything.
And is that something that you can use to get the growth going and then stop using it, or is that once you're in it you have to keep going?
It's long term. So that's the other thing with hair loss treatments. You need to be consistent with them, and unfortunately it is something you do have to do for a long time. Yeah. Indefinitely, really.
So it would be worth the investment in
it would be worth the investment. I mean, they can last 10 years plus. I had a client who's had her helmet for over 10 years. Obviously,
Wow.
she bought it way before I was set up.
Yeah.
But they do last a very long time.
Yeah. Wow, great. So there's various different options there. So I think it would be interesting for hairdressers, to even be aware of these things, because I often say to people, if you either spot signs of hair loss or somebody talks to you about it, what do you suggest? And I feel as though we're slightly stuck at supplements in a lot of salons. People are much more aware of that, and that can be really helpful, I'm sure, but it seems to be slightly where it goes to is either supplements or hair extensions or wigs.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to hear that there's a whole world of things in there.
Definitely. That is a big part of it, exploring if you do have any deficiencies, mineral vitamin deficiencies. It's good to get bloods done if you can, just to make sure you're not deficient in anything. It's good to supplement and have a good diet.
Actually, that's an interesting point, because a trichologist did say that to me, that you can quite often get your bloods done perhaps on the NHS and then take the results to a trichologist.
Yeah.
Would that be something that somebody could do with, such as yourself, like get the bloods done and then come and bring you the results, and then you can read?
Yeah,
see what's
definitely.
needed?
I've just recently done another course on reading blood test results, but it is really beneficial as a trichologist. So you can either have your bloods done before and bring those results to a trichologist to read for you, or a trichologist can write a referral to your GP requesting for bloods to be done.
Right.
So you can do it either way. And I know, obviously, with the NHS, they give you the results and don't really give you much information.
No, I've got some on my phone which I could easily look at, but I don't know what anything meant.
Exactly. And the levels, the ones that they don't tend to flag unless they're very low.
Yeah.
When actually, for optimal hair growth, you want to be well within the ranges.
Well, I think often if you're having a blood test done for a GP visit under the NHS, it's for a reason. So they're looking just at that part of it. Maybe they're just looking to exclude something, but for somebody to read the whole picture in the context of hair health.
Yeah, definitely. And there's other things that you can do. There's other prescribed type medications that you can take for hair loss. There's minoxidil and finasteride. You can also buy minoxidil topically, which you don't have to have a prescription for. That's a nice one to use if you have a pattern hair loss as well. It can cause some skin irritation in a small percentage of people, which is why something like low-level laser therapy is great, because it's literally just using light. There's no real side effects. Yeah. But you need to use all these things in combination with each other. It's not like you just do one and you'll get miracle results. You kind of need to do all these things together to get best results.
Which I think is where your skill comes in, is in seeing it as a whole picture and getting advice. I think sometimes self-education, you can scare yourself.
I know.
Or find the wrong things. You have to be really careful.
And there's so much on social media. I mean, I see it all the time, because I'm looking at hair loss. They think I'm sort of looking for products. So I see all the ads that my clients will be seeing. Yeah. And it's such a minefield. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you'd see this product and think, oh, this is going to be the solution. But, quite often it's like a fad, or it's not going to give the results.
It needs to be personal.
Promise.
I think that's the thing.
I
think at the end of the day, that's really where we're very secure in this industry, is that, there is personal results which need to be individualised and going to be different for each of your clients, each consumer. So that's really the skill, and anybody can look at everything. But
definitely, it's a bit of trial and error, and a tailored treatment plan is essential, really. But you can get amazing results if you have the right combination of treatments. Yeah,
really appreciate it. So, people listening, jump onto the show notes, and you also have an Instagram that they can follow as well. What's your Instagram handle?
Yeah, so it's microartistry_UK.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to my guest today, Chloe Heyworth from Micro Artistry Hair Clinic. That was a real revelation. I learned so much, and I hope you found that interesting. And if you are interested in looking at more of our podcasts, then please jump onto our library, which stretches back several years. We're on Apple, Spotify, Acast, YouTube, and all other good podcast platforms. Finally, If you like what you hear, please do rate and review us, as it helps drive us up the charts and make hair podcasts easier to find. Until next time, thank you.